From convenience store robberies to teenagers hurt in shootings and a heated exchange with the squeegee kid, the crime crisis in Baltimore is ongoing.
The city of Baltimore could learn the results of the mayor's squeegee collaborative any day now while the city waits for its leaders to do something about the problem. Another incident takes place.
If you don't give them what they want or enough of what they want, they're going to attack you. It's just wrong.
Team coverage starts with Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost, who has more on this latest incident.
Fox 45 News spoke with a driver who said he was on his way downtown Saturday night when a squeegee kid took his money. He says this all happened right in front of police, and it's just another example of tensions continuing to rise between these squeegee kids and motorists. All while Mayor Brandon Scott continues to stand by his statements that the laws on the books banning this activity won't be enforced. As drivers come into Baltimore off Interstate 83, there's a stoplight right at Fayette Street and across from Baltimore Police Headquarters.
Have a nice day.
Drivers also usually greeted by squeegee kids.
I whipped out $2 from a billfold.
Dashing between cars, all to make a buck. Fox 45 News speaking with another victim of what he says was theft. The man, a physician, coming from Baltimore County to the city for dinner Saturday night. Wanting to hide his name, but sharing what happened to him.
I gave him the $2. He must have seen, I didn't have a wad of cash, but I did have some cash in my billfold. And he saw it and he says to me, "Hey, OJ, give me another 20. I said to him, no.
A couple of $100 later,
I never thought that he would grab my wallet and run like a little punk.
He says there was a Baltimore police officer right in the median.
And I pulled over. I reported it to him. He says, "Can a detective call you?" I laughed. I'm like, "What? Yeah, sure. Like, what, are you going to catch this guy? You're not going to catch him."
That officer, an example of the hundreds of hours of overtime BPD has utilized since this summer to have police sit at known squeegee corners.
He goes, "We'll call you." But the funny thing was, he never asked for my phone number. So when he took my information off my license, there is no phone number in your license. And nobody's bothered to call me. It's a joke.
But the officer's not preventing the kids from committing crimes or flouting the laws on the books, prohibiting them from standing there squeegeeing. BPD often sitting in their cars, just watching.
What's the point of having a police officer there?
Mayor Brandon Scott's administration says this activity is the same as panhandling and therefore protected free speech. But that's something the physician says is unrealistic.
It's not just panhandling. They're extortionists. If you don't give them what they want or enough of what they want, they're going to attack you. It's just wrong.
According to data from BPD, there were 33 calls for service at this specific intersection from September 13th through October 4th. Those numbers add to the more than 500 squeegee-related calls for service in Baltimore City since July. After Timothy Reynolds was shot and killed at the intersection of Light and Conway, the bloodied bat lay as a reminder of the problem. Mayor Scott launching a squeegee collaborative, searching for solutions, but it's unclear when the details will be made public.
This should be a top priority for the mayor and the city council to sort of clean the up. And it took a shooting and a killing, and they still can't get it straight.
We've spent months asking the mayor for updates.
And why wasn't that open to the public so we could kind of hear what's happening with that conversation? What's taking so long to get some plans?
And how long before there will be some sort of solution to this problem? And Monday morning, Mayor Scott leaving out the back door of a different event without taking questions from the media. So we sent his office a few, asking, can the people of Baltimore expect to see a change in policies when the squeegee collab recommendations are released? If so, did Mayor Scott change his view on the interpretation of the laws moving toward enforcement? How much longer can the people of Baltimore anticipate squeegee kids working on the corners? The mayor's team says the city will, quote, immediately begin implementing the recommendations from the collaborative, but it's still unclear when those recommendations will be released. In response to our question, the mayor's office added, quote, constitutional enforcement of the city code has been a major focus of the collaborative's work.
And what are they waiting for? Another killing?
While the mayor continues deliberating about what's next for Squeegee Kid, the problem persists, potentially driving down even more business for Baltimore.
No one should ever feel intimidated to come downtown on a major thoroughfare.
While the city continues to wait and see what Mayor Brandon Scott will do about this situation, the presumptive next top prosecutor in Baltimore, Ivan Bates, says that he disagrees with the Scott administration's interpretation of the law, maintaining that the squeegee kids cannot remain on the corners. In Baltimore, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
This latest incident is one of dozens of stories Fox 45 News has heard from our viewers about interactions with squeegee kids. We have seen several videos of squeegee kids hitting drivers and ripping off windshield wipers. We've also heard stories from victims of squeegee kids' cash app scams. Earlier this year, a Fox 45 News employee became one of those victims. He says squeegee kids used his phone to send themselves hundreds of dollars. Many of the stories we've heard start the same way.
And they offered to clean my window, and I waved them off.
I rolled out my window saying, "No, thank you, have no cash."
I said, I don't want my windows done. I'm all right.
I said, "No, thank you." And he just kept doing it.
If you have had a bad interaction with a squeegee kid, we want to hear about it. You can submit your videos to our website, foxbaltimore.com/chime-in, or send us an email at news@foxbaltimore.com.
Police say drivers aren't the only ones being put at risk. Squeegee kids are as well. Early this month, we reported a 26-year-old man accused of shooting 2 squeegee kids. Court records show that he targeted his victims because he thought squeegee kids stole from his mother using a cash app scam. Now, these incidents are among the reasons Ivan Bates, the city's next likely state's attorney, says squeegee kids can't stay on the corners.
But they can't be there. It's not safe for the squeegee workers. It's not safe for the citizens. I've done the legal research from my standpoint, and I feel good about where we are. I don't necessarily view it as clearing the corners. I view it as enforcing the law.
We'd like to know what you think. Will Mayor Brandon Scott pivot on squeegee kids? So far, 93% of those who voted say no. Head to foxbaltimore.com/vote and click on the Pulse tab to weigh in. Breaking news to report: an aide to Baltimore City Council President Nick Mosby is pleading guilty to having a loaded handgun inside her vehicle. Jay Johnson was arrested in Baltimore County in June, and court documents showed that she had a loaded handgun inside of her car along with marijuana. Johnson was sentenced to probation before judgment, meaning her conviction can be cleared if she completes 1 year of unsupervised probation. Fox 45 News questioned the city council president several times about whether Johnson continues to work in his administration following her arrest, but so far he has ignored our questions. Fox 45 did find Johnson was still on the payroll, and late tonight we reached out to Nick Mosby's office again, asking if she's still employed. So far, we have not heard back.
Well, a man shot by a security guard outside of Royal Farms in southwest Baltimore is in critical condition tonight as he fights for his life. The incident shedding light on a disturbing trend. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor's been poring over the data. She continues our team coverage tonight. Rebecca?
Yeah, Mary, this year we're up about 150 convenience store robberies compared to this time last year. So that's a big number, and it's big enough that some of the Baltimore residents that I spoke with today tell me the rise in crime is driving them out of town.
For those pulling up to the pump at this Royal Farms in southwest Baltimore, remnants of crime scene tape remains. A stark reminder of what witnesses say was a weekend robbery gone wrong.
Puts me on edge.
Of course, it makes you feel uneasy.
Around 3 a.m. on Sunday, police reporting a private security guard shot a 26-year-old man, leaving him in, quote, grave condition Monday morning.
I think that's awful. Everybody seems apt to violence, and it's getting progressively worse.
It comes on the heels of a similar situation at a CVS in southeast Baltimore. Just over a week ago, police saying another security guard shot a suspected shoplifter in the head, going on to report that suspect attempted to stab the guard with a syringe.
You almost don't want to come to places where you got to go to buy gas or coffee or whatever.
Those are just some of the things that our men and women doing well.
During a public hearing at City Hall last week, BPD touting progress made following a severe summer crime surge, applauding efforts that brought robberies down over the last 3 months.
What's the commissioner say? We're decreasing the increase.
However, a closer look at the data shows the dents made in the city's trouble and crime trends have been slim, while the rise in crime over this past year has been significant. At this time last year, police had responded to 202 convenience store robberies. This year, they've been sent to 350, a 73% increase. Fox 45 tried pressing the commissioner on annual crime stats after the meeting.
Send us your questions. We'll be happy to respond to you in writing and get you all the answers to all your questions. Thank you.
But were denied. Monday, we followed up, asking the department specifically how they plan to address the increase in convenience store crime. We have yet to hear back.
We kind of at our wits' end.
Meanwhile, some of those filling up their tanks in the city say the rise in crime is fueling them to hit the road.
Would you ever consider leaving Baltimore?
We are leaving. The youngest is in her final year of school. Next year, we gone.
To learn more details, we also asked the police department for their report of this weekend's Royal Farm shooting. They claim it's still being drafted. Reporting live in Baltimore, Rebecca Breyer, Fox 45 News.
Well, Rebecca mentioned the similar shooting 10 days ago at a CVS in Harbor East. Go to foxbaltimore.com to see our reporting on that and how members of the community there are also on edge, simply going out to run an errand.